Capacity is 1,000, and it was at 3,000.
It's been pretty quiet since Title 42 ended at the border, but learn why local leaders say the borderland could soon reach a breaking point as the Biden administration's new restrictions on asylum take effect. We'll also show you how other border communities are dealing with the end of Title 42 and how the immigration rules could impact them.
It's not trying to track you with a crime, but if you need services, that's what CUAC is there for.
And disturbing new video, what police body cams reveal about a child abuse arrest in Las Cruces.
Live from the CBS 4 studios, this is CBS 4 at 10.
Good evening, I'm John Purvis. It's now been 24 hours since the Title 42 pandemic policy at the border ended, and a local congressman reveals how many thousands of migrants the Border Patrol's El Paso sector is having to deal with after agents cleared a massive encampment along the border wall in the Lower Valley, which seemingly disappeared overnight. CBS 4 at 10's Liana Golden is near the border tonight with the new numbers and what local leaders would like to see happen moving forward.
Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who represents parts of Far East El Paso, says there are 6,000 migrants in custody just here in the El Paso sector. He is calling that an astronomical number. Meantime, here along the border, we're right in that same spot where we were last night when Title 42 was lifted, and it is quiet out here tonight. And although it might look like not much has changed here on the outside, on the inside, we're told conditions are worsening quickly. A facility that can hold up to 1,000 people, he says tonight it is at triple that amount.
Capacity is 1,000, and it was at 3,000.
On the very day Title 42 expired, we witnessed hundreds of people turn themselves into Border Patrol in El Paso. And today we're learning where many of them have gone.
A cell that's supposed to hold 90 people was holding 400 or 500.
Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez says he went into El Paso's Central Processing Center today, which he says is at triple its capacity. Another soft-sided facility houses thousands, and as we've reported, another soft-sided facility is under construction.
They're trying to build capacity. What I'm also hearing, too, is the cartels are kind of waiting and seeing what to do next.
He says his biggest concern is seeing local ports of entry overwhelmed, where Americans cross every day, and
I think the biggest issue, too, is getting ICE involved. Like, ICE has to be able to expedite these folks. And I'm advocating don't send them to D.C. or San Francisco or even the vice president's front door. Don't, as fun as that is, you send them back to their country of origin.
I think one of the things that's really important for us to acknowledge about Title 42.
Meantime, Democratic Congresswoman Veronica Escobar has her own concerns with the major shift in border policy in the past 24 hours.
Title 42 really, in many ways, exacerbated the challenges at the border. You know, it created basically this waiting room on the other side of the border, created incredible pent-up demand, obviously made those populations vulnerable to misinformation.
We know that there's more going to be coming. We know that this is just the beginning.
And local leaders say they're preparing for the thousands that could be released from custody and make their way to a vacant local middle school converted into a federally funded emergency shelter.
It's the next coming days will tell, how the releases happen, how they're coming into the community, at what rate, and what the population truly is. So it's going to take time to get a full understanding.
Now, in terms of the population, Gonzalez said he saw inside of those facilities, he said it was mostly single men, a few children and families, even a few pregnant women, but really just single adults, mostly men. Now, in terms of what we're seeing along the border, it is really quiet. We haven't seen a single Border Patrol vehicle since we've been out here, mostly just Texas National Guardmen. It's changing shifts every hour or so. For now, reporting in the Lower Valley, I'm Liana Golden, CBS 4 at 10.
Now that we know where many of the migrants have gone, we're watching a federal court case in Florida very closely. Here's why. A federal judge there issued an order that prevents the Border Patrol from releasing migrants in overcrowded holding facilities, such as here in El Paso, unless they have an immigration court date set. The order expires in 2 weeks. And today, El Paso Mayor Oscar Leeser said it's possible some of those migrants could be released onto local streets again when that ruling expires.
And we don't know how many and when and how fast that could be processed, because the judge that put the new injunction says that unless you have a court date, that you cannot be released into any community.
Currently, there are 80 migrants staying at the vacant Bassett Middle School, which has been turned into a temporary shelter. That's down from 150 last night. But keep in mind, only people who've been processed and have an immigration court hearing scheduled can stay in city shelters. The impact of Title 42 going away is being felt all along the border from California through Texas. So we're keeping an eye on what's happening in other border communities tonight. CBS 4 at 10's Vanya Castillo is along the U.S.-Mexico border in West El Paso to show you how the end of Title 42 is impacting other cities.
Yeah, at the surface here in El Paso, the end of Title 42 has been rather calm. You might see a couple of extra DPS agents, Border Patrol, and again, this morning we did see Border Patrol processing migrants, picking them up in buses. But other than that, it's remained pretty calm. But we have been reporting that we've been able to confirm that there have been at least 6,000 migrants in overcrowded CBP facilities now. We are taking a look at what things are looking like across the country in other border cities. I want to go ahead and give you a look at what things are looking like in San Diego. Now, you can see this footage where we are seeing, again, hundreds of migrants camped outside of the border wall. And you can see many of them stretching their arms out, trying to reach out for food as they're relying on the kindness of volunteers for food and water. And from Texas to Arizona to California, border cities across the country have been bracing for the end of Title 42. Images from San Diego, Brownsville, and Yuma show a number of people waiting on the other side of the border. U.S. Border Patrol estimates about 60,000 migrants are waiting to enter the U.S. after the lifting of Title 42. Now, in Yuma, Arizona, you can see as hundreds of migrants stand patiently waiting in line as they are expecting to be processed and just waiting to see what the next steps are for them now that Title 42 has been lifted. In a very similar image out in Brownsville, where migrants could be seen along the border waiting to be loaded into buses to be processed by border. Again, seeing lots of families out there in Brownsville. And here in El Paso, we saw some very similar images. As I mentioned, we did see those migrants waiting to be processed. But again, for the most part, very, very calm here in El Paso, and most of the border cities also seeing a lot calmer conditions. Some larger numbers out there, but for the most part, staying pretty calm. Reporting live from the U.S.-Mexico border, Vanya Castillo.
The weekend has arrived, and Chief Meteorologist Brad Montgomery is here to let you know about the weather changes heading our way over the weekend.
That's absolutely right, John. Flipping literally from the drier air to more humid air. 9% humidity. Danielle Lavinati Law Firm. We're seeing 52 into the Mountain Gods. Temperature lower, humidity showing a little higher there. You see there 10% humidity, Tommy's Express Car Wash. Here's what we're seeing on the radar right now. 82 degrees at the airport, 72 in Las Cruces. Look at this huge complex of storms from North Texas back to the big country, all the way down into South Texas. That complex of storms is going to push a boundary that's going to blow back to the northwest. You can see all the high cloud cover already coming from that complex of storms overhead, but the moisture increase is going to begin overnight. We'll talk about our chances for showers and storms coming up.
Police arrest a well-known El Paso swim coach, the serious charge he faces tonight, and how his former school is reacting. And troubling new video, what police body cams reveal about a child abuse arrest in Las Cruces. Next on CBS 4 at 10, On Your Side. Obtains the body cam video of Las Cruces police responding to a disturbing child abuse case.
I can guarantee if we move this pile of clothes, there are going to be some that are going to run and scatter. I don't want to touch it. I don't want them to move. If they're happy under there, I want to keep them there. I don't want them crawling on me.
The video provides a glimpse inside the home of Teresa Badgley, who was arrested and charged with child abuse after her kids tested positive for methamphetamine. Investigators described the family's apartment on Lester Avenue as being in hoarder condition, and detectives said they discovered drugs in an unlocked bedroom closet within reach of the children. Las Cruces police conducted a welfare check on Badgley's home after a counselor at her kids' school called 911, reporting they had missed 28 days of class. A well-known El Paso swim coach is charged with sexually assaulting a child. Court documents show the alleged victim, who is now 23, reported she was sexually assaulted by 44-year-old Stanton Wright IV when she was 15 years old back in 2015. The victim said she met Wright when she began competing as a swimmer at several local clubs. The El Paso Times named Wright Swimming Coach of the Year in 2016. He had been the swimming coach at Loretto Academy until last November, and in February of this year, he was added to the U.S. Center for Safe Sports disciplinary database because of misconduct allegations. Loretto Academy responded to the allegations against its former swimming coach in a statement today, saying the school was previously unaware of the allegations against Stanton until they were published in recent news reports. Loretto administrators also encouraged anyone with information to come forward and cooperate with authorities if contacted. A jury finds a woman guilty of murdering 2 of her children. Her reaction to the verdict is straight ahead. And we'll show you what happened in court today after a former Marine is charged for the chokehold death of a man on a New York subway.
And big weather change is about to take place. Look outside right now. We're saying goodbye to the dry air. Humidity 11%, Rudolph Cars. 77 degrees, 9% desert imaging. What's going to bring the increase in moisture and what it's going to do to our storm chances this weekend? It's CBS 4 at 10 on your side.
What we need is Congress to act to pass legislative reform. Everyone agrees that our immigration system has been broken for more than 2 decades.
As Title 42 expired at midnight last night, the Biden administration began imposing new restrictions to try and slow illegal immigration. Undocumented migrants who are caught now can be barred from returning to the U.S. for 5 years. Many migrants who come to El Paso say they're confused about U.S. immigration rules and are uncertain about their future here. U.S. immigration courts now face a backlog of thousands of cases, and most migrants who arrive in the country now will likely face a years-long wait before their cases are heard.
Migrants have to go somewhere, and what we've seen is this is a destination because of the immigration court.
Mexico announced earlier today it won't admit more than 1,000 migrants a day who are deported by the U.S., dealing a blow to the Biden administration's new border policies. And the Mexican government estimates there are still more than 26,000 migrants waiting to enter the U.S. El Paso State Senator Cesar Blanco says with the end of Title 42, he's concerned about a potential humanitarian crisis. In a statement today, he called for a whole-of-government response to support border communities on the front lines. Blanco said the Biden administration inherited a broken immigration system and added, quote, "Now more than ever, Congress needs to act to provide a permanent solution that reflects American values and strengthens the economy," end quote. A killing on a New York subway train has now led to a criminal charge. The Marine veteran who put a fellow passenger into a deadly chokehold turned himself in to police and then faced a judge. CBS reporter Michael George shows us how this tragedy unfolded. And a warning, some of the video that follows is disturbing.
Daniel Penny arrived with his attorney to surrender to police and face a charge of second-degree manslaughter.
He did so voluntarily and with the sort of dignity and integrity that is characteristic of his history of service to this grateful nation.
Prosecutors are charging the 24-year-old Marine veteran in the death of an agitated passenger on a New York City subway train last week. Witnesses said Jordan Neely had been shouting and acting erratically, throwing his jacket on the ground when Penny placed him in a chokehold. The 30-year-old was pronounced dead at the hospital. He'd been struggling with homelessness and had a history of mental illness. A family attorney said Neely had demons, but meant no harm.
Mr. Neely did not attack anyone, he did not touch anyone, he did not hit anyone, but he was choked to death.
Immediately after the subway confrontation, police questioned Penny, but initially released him without charges. The story triggered an uproar about the city's failure to care for the mentally ill.
Anti-blackness.
It also led to protests and calls for an investigation.
We need to call out what is wrong, and we need to address how our system has repeatedly failed people like Jordan Neely.
After leaving the police station in handcuffs, Penny appeared in court, where he was released on bond. His attorneys say he never meant to kill Neely and that he risked his life to protect others. If found guilty of manslaughter, he could face 15 years in prison. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Penny's next court date is set for July 17th. An Idaho jury finds a mother guilty of murdering her 2 youngest children and a romantic rival. Lori Vallow-Daybell showed no emotion when she heard the guilty verdicts in court today. During the 4-week trial, prosecutors said Vallow-Daybell and her 5th husband, Chad Daybell, killed her 2 children in 2019, and investigators found their remains on Chad's property.
I want to personally thank and I want to personally hug every one of those jurors. What they went through, what they saw is mind-boggling.
Vallo's lawyers described her as a protective mother who fell under the romantic spell of a wannabe cult leader in Daybell, whose trial is expected to start next summer. Rain chances increase this weekend. Brad has your full forecast coming up in 30 seconds.
El Paso winters come with many challenges. You need the best team in heating playing for you. We bring game with our quality customer service and slam dunk with our energy-efficient Champion furnaces. Win and win again by saving up to 50% in energy cost this season.
I'm Tay Hardy, and you're a champion with Champion Heating and Cooling.
I'm Calvin Solomon, and you're going to always win with Win Supply.
Check out our Win Supply El Paso website for our preferred dealers and get installed today.
All right, taking a look at a wider view really quickly here. There's the storm system that gave us the gusty winds on Wednesday, now sitting over parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. We have a lot of moisture just off to our east. Another complex of storms forming across Texas, one of the larger complexes we'll see this year. That's pretty incredible, all the way from the Red River down to the Mexican border. That is going to push the outflow boundary from that a moisture boundary back through our area, traveling on northwest winds. So our winds are going to go southeasterly overnight, and our humidity is now going to go up overnight. 82 at the airport right now, 72 in Las Cruces. Take a look at Futurecast. Again, humidity goes up. Not a lot of activity in the overnight, but with daytime heating, possibly the front. Now, I want to mention the European model is hinting that as the front comes through mid-morning, it could fire some storms, but more likely with daytime heating, here we are at 2:21 in the afternoon, storms starting to fire over the mountainous areas, and then with the humidity in place, now storms affecting El Paso and Las Cruces, or at least the chance for storms. Look at the westerly winds going easterly and southeasterly. That's going to be the big shift. So we're going to go from dry, and this is going to bring in that Gulf of Mexico moisture that much of the rest of Texas has been dealing with for the month of May. It's going to pull some of that back into the borderland. So for tomorrow, also with the front coming through, not quite as hot, lower 80s, but it is going to be a little more muggy for tomorrow. Notice the start for tomorrow morning back in the 60s, so not as cool as that more humid air rolls in through the overnight. Could see highs in the 70s on Sunday, maybe highs in the 70s on Monday. But again, we're dealing with storm chances and more humidity across the area. That's going to be the big change in the forecast to the weekend. 60 for tomorrow morning, El Paso, 57. No 40s for you in Las Cruces for tomorrow morning. And as look ahead, there we go. 30% chance of storms Saturday, 20% on Sunday, 20% for your Monday. Las Cruces here too. Flipping from dry to storm chances back in the forecast. 30% Saturday, 20% chance for your Sunday and Monday. How long into next week these storm chances will last coming up?
All right, coming up in sports, packed day on the track, including a bunch of Chapin Huskies vying for podium positions. We got highlights from state track in Austin right after the break.
Is the Wind Supply of El Paso Sports Desk.
All right, day 2 of high school state track meets. Today, 2A and 5A getting their shine. And in 5A, Chapin with individuals and teams competing throughout the day. In the 400-meter girls relay, the Huskies got out of the blocks quickly. The team of Samadi Foster, Cadence Johnson, Malia Pride, and Morgan Little were in the hunt coming down the final stretch, but got edged out by 0.04 of a second for second place. They ended up finishing 4th. They'll also compete in the 800-meter dash as well. Chapin Seth Truex finishing 9th in the 800-meter on the boys' side, and then Little from that relay team also competed in the 100-meter dash, where she brought home the bronze medal. And now to high school baseball. Hanks' run comes to an end after falling to Lubbock Monterey 3-1. Riverside dropped a tough one in Game 3 against Canyon 12-1. Isleta against Abilene. The Indians fell 6-1 in the first of a 3-game series. America's in Game 3 against South Lake Carroll, leading 3-2, but they'll come back tomorrow morning at 10 to finish the game due to a lightning delay tonight. Pebble Hills fell 7-1 to Keller to end their season. And over on the softball side, Hanks, the last squad standing, punched their ticket to the Sweet 16 after sweeping Wiley. Meanwhile, the offers continue to roll in for El Dorado running back Ryan Estrada. He picked up his 5th Division I offer, and he's just a sophomore. This time it was hometown UTEP to extend that offer to him. Estrada also has offers from Baylor, Texas Tech, SMU, and UTSA. Well, the Washington Commanders sale from owner Daniel Snyder to Josh Harris and his group has finally crossed the finish line as the Snyder family and Harris-led partnership have reached a sale agreement the team announced today. The official price tag of the sale, $6.05 billion. The transaction will now be looked over by the league and its owners as part of its final approval process. The deal will set an NFL record for the most expensive sale in league history. The previous record of $4.65 billion was set last year by the Walton Penner Group when it purchased the Denver Broncos. All right, finally tonight out in Sugar Land, Chihuahuas, a bunch of close games with the Space Cowboys this weekend. This man, Alfonso Rivas, has been bringing in a ton of runs for El Paso. Third inning, 2-run double to left, Chihuahuas down 1. Then in the 6th inning, same score, David Dahl, line drive into left field. Matthew Batten touches home plate to tie the game, but the Space Cowboys would tack on 2 more runs before the end of it. El Paso falls 5-3. And while the record may not show it right now, John, the Chihuahuas have shown a lot of fight this year. A lot of these games coming down to the last inning or extra innings and going either way.
Great. Thanks, James. The Gift, the El Paso Zoo, is offering moms across the borderland this weekend. Next on CBS 4 at 10 on your side.
And a look at your 7-day forecast. Moisture returning to the borderland. Here's what we're seeing. 30% chance of showers and storms Saturday, 20% chance on Sunday. It is Mother's Day weekend. Just keep an eye to the sky with that chance going into Monday, Tuesday, maybe back up to a 30% chance Tuesday, Wednesday. Las Cruces here too. The next few hours are going to go from very dry air to more humid air. 30% chance of storms Saturday, 20% chance on Sunday with more storm chances right through next week.
You can stay up to date on what's happening across the borderland by signing up for our free daily newsletter. We'll send the day's top story straight to your inbox. Just go to cbs4local.com/sign up to get started. Some El Paso kids got the chance to let others know why they have the best mom 2 days ahead of Mother's Day. A partnership between the Great Khalid Foundation and El Paso Public Libraries asked students to write an essay about what makes their mom the best. Today, some of the winners read parts of their essays celebrating their mothers. The El Paso Public Library's director says it was a great way to honor moms across El Paso.
This is an essay contest that we partnered with the Great Khalid Foundation and the El Paso Public Library. This is our 3rd year doing it, and it's a great way to honor our mothers.
Martinez says they'll have a similar contest for Father's Day next month. You can also take your mom out for a day at the zoo this weekend in honor of Mother's Day. The El Paso Zoo and Botanical Gardens is offering free admission to moms, grandmas, and mother figures tomorrow and Sunday. In addition, the El Paso Zoo has teamed up with Orangutan Outreach to celebrate orangutan mothers that are critically endangered as part of an effort to raise awareness about protecting this endangered species. So plenty to do this weekend.
Just keep an eye to the sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sunday. You have 2 days left to get Mother's Day's gifts. Get them done.
Thank you for watching CBS 4 at 10. We hope you have a great Mother's Day weekend. Good night.